Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Rejoice Christian Eagles Coaches Show, coming to you live again from the patio outside Mad Eats, right here off Main Street in Owasso. And tonight I'm here again with Mark McCann and Coach Brent Venables.
Venables, hey, I'll take it. No.
Wow.
He forwarded his paychecks to you.
Yeah.
And Coach Bootram tonight. So, anyway, we're here to talk about, believe it or not about OU. We're not talking about OU this time.
Yeah, it's fine with me.
Yeah, there's not much to talk about.
No. Not much to talk about there, exactly. But we're here to talk about the game last week against Nowata Ironman, which again was another nice win for the team. A great showing, a great opportunity for all of our guys to get in, get some extra playing time. The game kind of went according to plan, I think, but it was an interesting evening nonetheless. And then we got to talk about our upcoming game this coming tomorrow night on Thursday night this week against Caney Valley, right?
Yep.
So, Coach, let's talk about the game. What'd you think about last week?
It was a game we're going in. We knew the team we were playing hadn't had a lot of success. So we challenge our guys to be good at what we do, to not be our own worst enemy, and to come out fast, and to try to play clean football and flawless football, to try to limit turnovers and careless mistakes and all that. And I felt like we did that. I felt like we got started really quickly. I mean, getting to 42 points playing in the first quarter and defense holding to 0. I don't think they got a first down against our first defense in the first quarter. If they did, it was maybe one.
They had 5 total in the game, and one of them was a penalty.
Yeah.
So I mean, we didn't play down to our competition, and that we've had multiple teams in the past sometimes that do that, especially when you're going on the road in an environment where we hadn't played on grass since week 0.
Wow.
Cashin, yeah. I mean, it's hard to believe, but just everybody onto turf, and so that was
And the grass, it was a lot greener at Cashin at that time. That was probably the driest grass I've ever seen. On the field. I mean, it had to have been slippery. It had to have been slick for the guys that are out there. But it was definitely dry.
It was. Daniel thinks it used to be covered in turf.
Well, we had our suspicions. We were investigating, and we just I love small towns and football. It's just such a cool thing, and
we were very Friday Night Lights.
Yes, and there's so many just things about the facility. You're checking it out, looking around. I mean, we talked about it. I mean, Nowata was a really good football town not long ago. They played in the state championship game in 2014, and so they've got a lot of tradition there. And so I think that they'll hopefully they'll figure it out. I mean, for their sake, for their kids' sake, hopefully they figure it out. But yeah, we went up there. I felt like defensively, the kids rose to the challenge. I mean, it's hard. We've played a juggernaut of a schedule this year, and I'm so proud of our guys for how they've handled that. But when you play the teams that you kind of know you should and expect to go out and win, you can come out flat sometimes. Our guys have done such a good job this year of coming out quick. I didn't know it was going to be the opening kickoff return for a touchdown quick. But
it's got to be some of the quickest the quickest touchdown I think at least I've seen since I've been with Rejoice. But 10 seconds into the game for the first score.
It's pretty good.
It's pretty good. It's hard to beat that one, I think.
Yeah. We'll take it.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. By the way, guys, if you have any comments, please send them in. We'll try and get to them on air here and answer what questions you got. We should have opportunity to talk about that here a bit later on. Again, Rejoice took the record to 8-0 overall now and 5-0 in play. And we got another district game tomorrow night that we're going to have at home. It'll be our last home district game.
Senior night tomorrow night.
Senior night tomorrow night. Okay, fantastic. Well, talk about the game just a little bit like we alluded to already. I mean, from the very get-go, we won the toss, right? And chose to receive.
Yep.
And they kick off, and Cale got the ball and really went untouched with about 10 – it was an 80-yard dash in less than 10 seconds. So that's kind of what it looked like to me.
Yeah, Cale loves track, and he just had a straight lane, and nobody touched him. So, it was the way he caught it, I think, and off to the side. There was just a good open lane on that front line. And then once he hit that, it was just, could really kick it into track gear and go get it. And so it was fun starting that way.
Sure.
Yeah, it certainly looked good. I'm sure he enjoyed it, but it just really set the tone for the entire night. And like we were talking about it, Nowata really didn't have a whole lot go right for him, I don't think, on either side of the ball most of the night. There's just kind of one thing after the other. It was just kind of working against them. And it wasn't that they didn't have talent. I mean, some of their guys. I mean, watching them play individually and really seeing how they move and they had speed. You know, they had a couple guys that ran hard too. You couldn't, they were not. You didn't want to arm tackle them, right? Because you could see what happened. I can't tell you how many times it looked like. Of course, they ran that off tackle play. What 90% of the time that same play, but you come in and they pop into that hole, and if somebody didn't just put him down, that kid would roll out and he would pick up an extra 3 or 4 yards, and it was it did look like they had the potential there. It just they could never keep things rolling in the same direction.
Yeah, we had a good week of practice. We had talked about doing something fun and kind of lightening up practice and knowing our opponent. And then when Chance got hurt versus Veneta, we really couldn't afford to just take a day off and go bowling. And hindsight looking back, like, yeah, we could have. But we really needed to get Kel and Cam reps at quarterback and get, as much practice as we could. Not so much for Nowata, but just we don't know how long Chance is going to be out. And so we had to start getting, some, offensive stuff going. And then defensively, because we had practice, we scheduled normal defensive practice. We had our normal defensive periods. I thought we had a good week. We were focused on Nowata. And we prepared for Nowata just like we did for Veneta and Claremore Sequoia and all those guys.
And I think it showed. I mean, again, the guys, there was never really a lack of focus. It didn't appear on anything. And for me, I think it was really great to see some of the younger guys get in and get some significant playing time that night.
Right.
And we started really, I guess, right after the first quarter, literally, is when we started seeing a lot of these guys coming in.
Absolutely.
And we spent a lot of time really just trying to keep up with the numbers to kind of see all the new guys that were cycling in and out. I mean, it had to feel pretty good for you guys to be able to get those other guys, those other kids in to get a chance to play.
Yeah, I'll let Daniel. The defensively, I thought we played really well just because, like you mentioned, the first down deal.
Right.
I mean, giving up the one with the penalty, and then I think the other 5 were probably with our B and C group late. But Daniel already kind of does that with the defensive line. He's kind of got a line change that he does.
It kind of reminds me of hockey sometimes. It's almost like a line. Yeah, it really is like a line change.
Yeah.
Well, and that just speaks to our guys' preparation, and we're trying to keep not just. I believe we have a pretty good first group, and we've been able this year because of the opponents we've played, the different attacks we've seen. I mean, from all the way from week 0 all the way through, we've seen wing T. We've seen I formation. We've seen power football. We've seen quarterback run game. We've seen all those things, and we have found different variations of guys that work best for us. But at the same time, we've also been able to get a lot of guys reps. And really, when you're trying to play for the next season, as in like the playoff season,
right,
you're really just trying to stack those practices and stack those reps up to where you feel like you've gotten something. And so, what may seem like they're up 42-0 or something like that, and we've got a third-string defensive end in. Well, that kid, those are meaningful reps to him.
Absolutely.
And we're having conversations about technique and about all those kinds of things. And so we try really hard to be intentional in that. We try to be intentional on on offensive days with our defensive guys with conversations about their alignment and where their eyes are and where their hand placement is. And so we try to do our best with that, and our kids have really responded well to that.
Yeah, fantastic. I mean, again, having been in those situations, you can practice and practice and practice, even against an opponent like Nowata. Those reps that are in that game environment is entirely different. I mean,
absolutely,
your mindset's different, and the way your body reacts is different. And getting those guys in there and getting that opportunity to have that real significant. I mean, it's not like coming in the last 30 seconds of a game, right? They got a majority of the game time, and I thought that it's like you said, it's invaluable.
And no matter how much we simulate pressure in practice, no matter who you're playing, when the lights are on Friday night, even as a young guy, you have to work through that, like the noise and the conversations and the communication and the alignments, and that guy's looks different than the kid in scout team. So like, how's he aligning up right? And so, and I feel like that, and that's another thing. We have some scout guys who have done a really good job this year of taking ownership of some things. And last week, particularly, we had Aiden Wadley played a fullback, particularly the way they like to do their counter stuff, and he got in there and just kept running it. And he was just he's one of many kids that's kind of stepped into that role and done a good job with that.
Well, it brings up a good point. I mean, all the new guys going in on Friday night, did you find anything that you weren't expecting? Did you find anything new? Anybody stand out?
We saw some things that we're kind of waiting on. I feel like Devin Skeistis played good at outside linebacker. Goose Gwynn, always Maverick. We always call him Goose.
Yeah.
He
and
always.
we learned why. We learned why
Right.
Friday night too. So it's
So he played well, and he always does. I thought Luke Schaefer ran the ball well, ran it hard. Hit the hole hard. Needs to get his pad level down a little bit, but defensively, they started. I mean, their ones are still in, and we have our JV, our C group in, and they're moving the ball. And they got down there, I don't know, it was about the 25, 30-yard line, and we tightened up and caused a fumble and got on the ball and kept them from scoring, which is huge because
sure it is.
Coach Eckel does not like it when we've got a shutout and the C group gives it up, and anyway. But, it was overall just a lot of good things with the young guys getting to play and seeing different things. And so, we saw some good stuff.
That's good. And, I was kind of pleased, being in Nowata, it's got to be very tough to be in their position. But I see a lot of frustration show up out on the field. I really started to expect that, they're going to get tired of this going so south for them, all the time and kind of have some of that show up on the field. It really didn't. I mean, they continued to play. They played hard. They never lay down and give up. And they got some of their other folks in there too, later on in the game, which obviously, like we said, the decision was made as far as the outcome of the game was decided literally in the first quarter, probably not very far through the first quarter.
Yeah.
And so there was no question about how the game was going to turn out. It was just a matter of how you're going to go ahead and play the game and get things through. And it was really unfortunate to see they had that one kid that did get hurt, right before the first half. And he came back out, so hopefully all that's turned out okay for him. But otherwise, I thought it was a really clean game. We got kind of worried when we had a flag thrown on the second play of the game. I thought, oh, here we go again. But things evened out, and I thought it was a pretty good game all the way around.
Yeah, it was a good game, and Quandarius was a kid number 21 that got hurt. I checked with their coach on Monday to see how he was doing, and he hadn't gone to the doctor yet, but was going to the orthopedic doctor, I believe, on Tuesday. So I'll probably holler back at him just to see how he was doing. But they're with their ones getting to play against our JV. They probably gave our JV a little bit better of a look than we can in scout team, and so it provides depth down the road. Unfortunately, the clock was running, and they asked to run it after halftime. And when they asked to run the clock, I'll never say no. I've been 0-10 before when I was at a previous school. I know how that feels, and when you do run the clock, boy, I think it was 8:40 and we were meeting with the team on the field.
Man, it was quick.
It goes fast.
Yeah, it was quick. That's what I said when the game ended up. Thought, well, shoot. Of course, I was still looking at. Had been working on Mountain Time all day that day. I was like, okay, it's just now 8 o'clock. It was almost it's coming up to 9 o'clock. But I was I got to tell you, I wasn't disappointed that they decided to do that because it was just. It was really kind of again a very one-sided affair, but again it was good to see the kids come out and play and get all that extra playing time for the guys that don't normally get in there and be able to get through the game without anybody getting hurt and move on to future things. Which again we got another game coming up this week, another opportunity to come out and really kind of show our worth a last district home game. I think it's. Just keep, we're in that position right now. You just got to head down and keep things rolling. You're going, moving into the playoffs, but we're not there yet, right? So got a couple games yet to go. So, what's tomorrow looking like?
Well, again, much of the same. It's a very similar team than what we played last week at Nowata. They have one of the best linebackers in the district on their team. He made 23 tackles against Veneta.
23 tackles?
And I'll bet 22 of them were solo.
Wow.
And so
there was 10 other guys still out there playing, right? It wasn't the only other guy out on the field.
No,
right?
he's 6'1", 215. And I was so impressed by him. The coaches were too. We all kind of were texting about him when we were watching film, preparing for Caney Valley, and his name came up, and I asked our coach about him, and he said that he's just a great kid, and that's the way he plays. He's just a player. So that'll be kind of fun getting to see a really good linebacker.
Absolutely.
And he's number 31. And he also plays running back for him and runs extremely hard. I mean, I saw on film this week, watching film against Veneta and once against Pawhuska. He got hit in the backfield about 3 or 4 yards deep. And just everybody was on him, and it's like an amoeba just moving, and it kept going all the way to 1 yard short of the sticks. He got like 12 yards. It was a 9-yard gain.
Wow.
But he runs with some force. But offensively, they are a little hodgepodge. I mean, they try to do different things. Number 1's a good athlete. They'll try to get him the ball. Good player. Number 7, their quarterback moves around pretty good. And then defensively, one of the first even fronts we've seen in a while. We've seen a lot of odd front and a lot of 3-4, and they will be more in a 4-man front with 2 stand-up ends. Give us a little bit different look. And so it's good kind of seeing an even front.
That's a little more old school.
Yeah, I mean, we may see some even front down the road, so that'll be good. And, and then just being our last regular season home game, being senior night, hopefully we send those guys out with a good evening and a fun night.
Absolutely. So do they throw the ball very much?
They're about 50-50.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks like Coach Willis asked a question here.
All right.
Yeah, I read that one.
Winning games in a row, do you as coaches have any weird routines or superstitions that you do every week? Same socks, etc.
You want to go first?
Well, I don't know if you say it. Is that like, I mean, I'm not trying to,
just tell Coach Willis.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I don't even, I don't know. I know I have routine stuff, but it's just like, I don't even know if it's even a habit. It's just more like, it's the river takes the easiest route, right? And it's just like, that's what I do every time.
That's one way to look at it.
I do know that in the press box, like usually there's monsters and there's gummies, and not gummies like anything else. I'm talking like gummy worms. We're not getting anything, getting ideas here. No, but it's like, and that's just, everybody has their own thing, right? And some people it's working on the gator. Some people it's whatever, right?
Yep, that's right. Yeah, yeah. I normally get occupied with something odd on Friday on game days. Tomorrow being Thursday, I'll find myself changing transmission fluid under the gator or something. It'll be
But it's a way for you to work out like nervous energy,
yeah,
right? Because you just get amped up and you're ready to go.
Amped up and like to do something, but I kind of have the same routine as I've got a few routines that are 21, 22 years old, and. For game night, and just a couple. One, I hate superstition. I mean, when people say, "Oh, he hasn't missed a field goal all year," and then they miss one, "Oh, we jinxed it." I don't believe in that. It had nothing to do with that.
But it sounds good, though.
Yeah, I mean, superstition to me is anyway. I don't have time for that, but I do have some routines that I believe in and like, and so.
That's called preparation, though.
Yeah.
I mean, that's straight up
preparation.
It is.
It's
right
preparation,
there.
I think.
Exactly.
So in that vein, if I could ask a question about what's coming up. So we've talked a lot about the younger players getting involved, stacking that for the playoffs and having them ready. So for each of you, what do you see Rejoice needs to work on from the offensive side, from the defensive side, as you prepare for the playoffs? What are the things that you are working on or you're seeing in your own film that our guys need to be fine-tuning?
You want to take the defense, and I'll take the offense?
Sure. I can't speak for every position group because every coach has their own things. They watch the tape in detail. I think that for defensive line, we spend multiple individual periods just working on hand placement, like firing with hands and hips together at one time, and where our eyes are and our feet, and it's a lot more than just big guys running into each other.
Sure.
We have a lot more technique that we desire because I tell them, I say, guys, we want to give you every tool in your tool belt to be successful.
Sure.
It's like we don't want you to go out there and feel like you didn't know, and so we talk about second move success. So we plan on winning on the first move. Let's plan the next move.
Absolutely.
So when I beat this guy with an outside rush, how am I going to then finish him off to get to the quarterback? Or am I setting him up for a move later? We talked about that today about let's do this, and then when you get the opportunity, do this.
That's good.
We worked through a lot of screen last week because Nowata showed a lot of screen. Guess how many screens they threw? I don't think they threw one. But we had, I think, Marshall had 3 interceptions in team period on screen stuff. Well, that's going to pay off for us.
Sure it is.
Because screen recognition is huge for defensive line.
That's one of the hardest things in the world because you want to get there.
Yeah, and we've given up a couple of screens this year, and we still have a bad taste in our mouth, and so we want to be just as much as we can do with that. But every coach, every position group has their own thing that they're dialing in. And trying to get better at it.
Awesome.
And the reality is that we know we've seen we've seen what it takes to get there, and I feel like that our kids are they're matching what it takes to get there in practice and in their preparation, and so I've been really proud with them
That's
of that
good stuff.
Offensively, I would say just really what we've been working on is stay clean. Just, no matter with Chance out, and obviously we need to get Chance back.
Sure.
But we also feel like what we've seen with the way it's been, too, is just stay clean, don't turn the ball over. Kale's effective in the run game, and the offensive line has been playing great. If the offensive line keeps getting better and stays healthy, we've been working a lot more this week on throwing the ball. We came out against Nowata and threw it a lot. I think Kel went 8 for 9.
Yep.
Had a high completion percentage, 88% completion, and threw 4 touchdown passes. So, and I know the opponent's not the same, but we needed to run the ball against Veneta because we had a lead.
Right.
Okay, let's stay clean, run the ball. They couldn't stop the run game, and let's win the game.
Yeah.
And then we got a week against Nowata. Let's work on throwing the ball and be clean with it. Short passes, quick passes, screens, getting a rhythm, because the reality of we don't know how long it's going to be till Chance comes back. I think it's going to be pretty soon. But no matter what happens with that, we need to prepare that Kel has to go. He has to go. If Cam has to play, he has to play.
Yeah.
Whoever's in, let's just go get it and be us and take care of the football. If we can do that, honestly, with the guys around, the whole offense, the system in itself, the offensive line, if Kel's in and he runs the ball with the throwing ability, with Cam, with the throwing ability with the wide receivers, and Cam runs hard.
Yeah.
He does. It doesn't really matter if the guy takes care of the football and is smart with it, and everybody around him, does their job, and we play good defense.
Right. That's
Yeah,
good.
that's what I was going to say. I mean, the way you guys have been playing, I mean, it's such a cohesive unit. Everybody does their job, then you're going to have success.
Yep.
I mean, and you're right. I mean, getting Kale in there where if you have to rely, whatever we have to do, right, to be able to win the game. Likewise, he needs to have those reps at the receiver position too, because he could be relied on for that at any given time. So I think just getting that good mix in there, so you've got people around, and then plus it gives the linemen an opportunity to work with different quarterbacks, right? Because everybody's got a little bit different cadence. Things are going to be a little bit different. Whoever's back there making that signal call, it's they have to be able to respond to that. And I think having those parts and pieces working together and get those reps, get that practice, got to be it's got to be very important.
Yep.
Saw Bill Bush sending a request, which he's got to be sending that from an airplane, because the last I heard he was just getting on an airplane in Bangor, Maine. So anyway, Bill sends in a comment: does a win tomorrow night clinch the district championship?
Yes.
Yes, it does. Well,
Fantastic.
easy answer. That's fantastic, and we fully expect to see that happen, obviously. But it's got it seems like we always think about that moving into each one of these games, but now we're down to that point where it really is. Get that last win and get that district championship clinched. What does that mean for us?
Well, what it does is it means that week 10 technically doesn't matter. It does matter to us because we need to play well. Pahuska's probably going to act like it's the Super Bowl, and we want to go. They're a good football team. We want to go there and perform well.
Yeah.
Need to perform well, I think. Going into the playoffs, but it guarantees us 2 home field games.
Which is very important.
Which you got to win the first one to get the second one. Everything's earned after that. Well, it's earned to get there, and now you're earning it or you're not playing anymore. So, that's the guarantee that what it does for us, and it also lets us know what side of the bracket we're on, being the 1 seed, and how all that shapes up. We still won't know who we play first round. We've got a good idea, but that district we cross with District 7, there's still some key games. With Sperry and Victory and Kiefer play, and there's just some different games. Beggs and Sperry have to play, correct?
Yep.
I believe. So, I mean, we won't know, but we'll know soon.
Well, of course, all you can do is what you can do.
That's right.
You win tomorrow night, then you got that championship. That part is settled, and you're going to have at least that first game at home, right?
Yep.
And then at that point, you're right. I mean, it's win or go home every time, right? So. Yep. Every game, it's a 1-game season every week.
Right. No, and it just being able to talk about that's a blessing, because
absolutely
3 years ago I'm standing on the field at Metro, and we just got it handed to us second round, and we went 4-7, and it was our first year in 2A, and I scheduled a meeting with Mr. Pepin, and I had to have an plan of action of what it's going to take to be able to compete in 2A, and this was like a 5 to 10 year plan, and to be talking about potentially a second one in 2 years of a conference that everyone in the state says that District 2A8 is the toughest conference in the state. these kids, just a tremendous job to them. And you're talking about kids stepping up and filling in, and you could go. I mean, as you were saying that, I was thinking about Cooper, like Jay Miller going out.
Yeah.
What a big loss.
Big,
and then Cooper comes in, and Cooper's had like 6 touchdowns in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, it's just the next man up mentality. And anyway, but yeah, it's been a great deal with them. Great group of young men, great group of coaches. It's just been a fun ride so far, and we want to take it all the way to the second week of December.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice.
And and you're right. And I think about that all the time. You never want to see anybody get hurt. You never want to see everybody needs to. It's a game, right? You want to be able to play this game, and you, to the best of your ability, you want everybody to be able to do that. But to see these guys whenever they do get that opportunity to come in, and then they capitalize on it, and they really stand out and they show. That's the kind of thing that you dream about. That you always want. You always want to be in that position where you can make that impact. And it's just great to be able to see guys that have had that opportunity and then stepped up and really made a tremendous impact on the way that the outcome of the games. How the team's progressing. Well, we're going to be back at home tomorrow night. So we traveled really well again over to Nowata. I think we had probably twice as many people from Rejoice at Nowata as, which is not unusual. I mean, that's just kind of the way everybody travels, and it was it was a great environment. It was a great time. We fully expect to see the same kind of thing coming tomorrow night. Everybody, should have a little bit cooler, a little more like football type weather, right?
Yeah.
Tomorrow night.
Yeah.
But we hope to see a really good turnout come out up there. And again, it's going to be senior night, right? So,
Yes.
kind of what kind of things do we have going on for senior night?
We'll start senior night at about 6:35, between 6:30 and 6:35, and we'll honor our cross country, our volleyball, not a volleyball tomorrow. We did senior night for them in the gym. We'll have cross country, cheer, and football tomorrow night.
Oh, okay.
We'll honor them. And then Chance was named the Tulsa the All-World Athlete of the Year this past spring,
Right.
which is like the Heisman Trophy for high school athletes in Tulsa.
Wow.
And so they are going to present a check to him in pregame, like around 6:45, 6:50, as soon as senior night's over. And they're going to present a check to the school, the athletic department, on his behalf.
Oh, fantastic,
Nice.
fantastic. So everybody be sure and get out so you can see that. Come on out, enjoy the game. Again, come out and watch these guys because it's been a great run, as Coach has said. This year, it's a great team. It's a great environment. Come out and just kind of see that last home game, that last home district game before we get into playoffs, and really cheer these guys on. It's been a lot of fun. I know this year. Last year was good. The year before that, we had some issues the year before that, but it was still a lot of fun, right? But it's just been progressively building, and you really feel like we've got something special, going on this year. It's been a really great environment, and the team's done well, and it's been a lot of fun covering these games. I can tell you that for sure. And it's again just a great opportunity for everybody to get to see some good Oklahoma high school football for sure. If you can't come out, be sure and catch this game again. It'll be on the YouTube TV channel right here. And Mark, actually,
Bill will be back. Yep.
Bill will be back. He's on his way back from Maine. So Jay's Maine grandpa will have to watch the game on his own this time, right?
So that'd be tough if Mark was doing the show and the PA at the
That'd
same
be
time.
impressive.
Because he didn't tell me he couldn't do the PA. So
I just have to
That's
keep
true.
pushing
Yeah.
buttons.
I started sweating real quick. When
We just have two microphones, right? So we just carry. You can do both of them. Yeah, you can handle it. No
Whatever.
problem at all.
he could do
Whatever.
both. I guarantee
No
you.
problem at all.
I just want to say, mentioning senior night, I know Coach Marley feels about this senior group. It's just it has been such so many of them have risen to the occasion of taking the leadership mantle. I mean, I think about that year, 2 years ago, we were reaching for answers, and I was watching some film even today of that year from their sophomore year, and we were going through some really tough games, and seeing a lot of the guys who were really young playing some positions they'd never played before, and how far they progressed to where they are now, and just it is. I mean, there's so many. I mean, for me with Dalton Close and Marshall Hefner,
Sure.
who have Dalton arguably is the best interior defensive lineman in 2A.
Wow.
He is on everybody's radar. He's getting double and triple teamed every night, and
he's wreaking havoc with centers.
and he likes it. Like he likes it, and he's just kind of he's such an odd duck, and I love him to death. But he's just he enjoys it. And Marshall has stepped up his game as he's a senior now, and all of that. And so we have so many other guys that are contributing. But I was just thinking about that today with those guys and how far they have come since that. Thinking about that Metro, that game does have a game because we didn't feel like we had any answers that night. and Metro, of course, was really great, and they won the state championship that year. And so anyway, I'm really proud of them and proud of the way they've led, and some of them have taken their
on here. But these young men that are part of this team, they're a step above. I mean, it's definitely. I feel a lot of pride in just being able to be around them, and they never cease to amaze me. The way that they step up and the maturity level that they have, both as football players and as Christians, as people, right? And I think that is super important. I think it's a big testament to what you guys do as coaches to be able to lead that.
Well, and I'll share this real quick. At No Water the other night, we shake hands, we circle back up. The guys take a knee, and one of the chain guys for No Water came up into our circle and tapped me on the shoulder, and I turned to look at him. At the point, you don't know what's going to happen, right?
It's going to get you.
And
we've seen a lot.
He said, "Coach, I don't know what you guys are doing, but that was the most respectful group of young men on any sideline I've done the chains for all season."
Fantastic.
And I you know what? And I turned around and told the guys immediately what he just said.
Wow.
And I said, that's a bigger win
Sure.
than what we just did up there on that board.
Absolutely.
Yes,
And everybody cares about the board, but man, if we didn't have that happening, and I know they're not perfect, and
Nobody is.
nobody is, but anyway, it's great to hear that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. I love it. Come out and see these guys. We appreciate everybody that's watching. We appreciate Mad Eats for having us out here again. Please come on down and partake in what they've got out here, because again, we've talked about the milkshakes on and off, and we've banned ourselves from doing it. But you need to come out.
You need
and
to try
experience
one
it.
though if you haven't
need
had
to come
one.
out and experience exactly.
It is an experience.
Appreciate you guys, and appreciate y'all being on the show. And we look to see everybody tomorrow night. In the meantime, good night, God bless, and go Eagles.